You wanted him. You got him. Carlos Correa coming back to the Houston Astros. Everyone but Paul Gallant is very happy right now.
Carlos Correa is a Houston Astro. So I guess our Ramon Urias talk will have to hold off a little bit.
Another utility player. Did you see, by the way, some of the headlines talking about his height? I don't care how tall he is. Can he play baseball? I know he's a good defender. He's not a great hitter. But, like, they got another utility piece that can help them in the short term until they just made this move.
All right, so what does this mean for the Astros? We don't know what's going out. We don't know how much Minnesota's retaining. All we know is that Carlos Correa, according to Brian McTaggart, is a Houston Astro. McTaggart tweeting a minute ago, the Astros have agreed to a deal to reacquire Carlos Correa in a trade with the Minnesota Twins. How much money does Minnesota need to retain to make you pleased? Because you were a little bit more against it yesterday than I was. How much money does Minnesota need to retain? And, of course, you know, what's going out matters too. But what would make you comfortable to be in a better spot than you were yesterday about how much money Minnesota's hanging on to?
I preferred that I guess between 98 and 102 is what's left on the three main years of that deal. I preferred if the Astros could get 50 of Minnesota to pick up 50.
That's what they were asking for.
Yeah. If they didn't get it to 50, but between 40 and 50, depending on the price tag, right? The price tag matters too. If you don't have to give up as high a priority prospect, and you can get him, you have to pick up 40 of it. I mean, you're going over, right? So the bottom line is that if it's between 40 and 50, I'm good.
You're going over the competitive balance tax.
Yes.
Because I forget who, Heyman, Nightingale, one of the talking heads, they said that the Astros were asking for 50% of the salary to be retained by Minnesota, and they wanted an outfielder thrown in. I don't know which outfielder, but they wanted an outfielder thrown in. They wanted Minnesota to retain 50% of the contract. So even if they retain, let's say that they talk that down to let's just say it's 50%.
Yep.
Even if it's 50%, the Astros are going well above the competitive balance tax. So this is Jim Crane pushing all his chips to the middle of the table, saying we're going all in. We're going over the CBT. Fromber's in the last year of his contract. You might as well just blow way out of it and start acquiring everybody you can ahead of the 5 o'clock deadline.
I think this goes to when everybody used to refer to Jim Crane and question if he was cheap. This goes to when he said that, hey, the window's always open as long as I'm here, and as long as we're in a chance to go for it, that I'll be willing to do what's necessary. And this is him doing that. This is him saying, hey, put it all to rest, shut the hell up, and here we go because I am committed to this team winning baseball games, and this is where I'm proving it.
What are your concerns with Correa?
I mean, injuries are first and foremost. I think that from the standpoint of a guy that, look, I think that he's going to bring juice to the clubhouse. I think he's going to bring juice in the fact that, it's going to really rejuvenate everything in this city in terms of baseball. People love this guy. Him coming back is going to fire up the fan base. I think it's going to be a huge shot in the arm for the team, knowing what we basically have all been told, that Paredes is out 6+ months and he's not going to come back. This gives you that kind of plug-and-play replacement for him and keeps you where you are right now, 5 games up in the division. And then for the future, like you and I've talked about, we'll figure it out where he plays. It seems like, and you were the first to bring it up, but it makes the most logical sense. Play him at second base. Your infield is unbelievably good defensively.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of he's got to stay healthy, and you hope that, he hits the baseball and kind of can return to somewhat of the form that he had in his best years in Minnesota.
Yeah, to your point, 2026 can wait.
Right.
That's kind of cross that bridge when you get to
Yes.
it. If all those guys that you currently have under contract do return next year, and Isak Paredes, that news, I'm sure we'll get to that at some point today too. They're saying 6 to 7 months.
Right.
Hopefully he's ready by opening day. But that's kind of one of those. Let's worry about that in spring training. I would play Correa at second going into next year. Obviously, this year he's your third baseman. Yeah, this is shocking. I mean, this is shocking. And in the last 12 hours, the Houston Astros have totally revamped their infield. We find out that Isak Paredes is done for the year, which, I mean, we pretty much knew that.
Yeah.
But Isak Paredes officially done for the year. They trade for Urias last night, who I like that piece. I think he can help you. Like, you're carrying a Forshay Whitcomb. You're carrying Zach Short. You're carrying Cooper Hummel. You're carrying Bryce Matthews, who strikes out in half of his big league at-bats. Urias helps you. Urias helps this ball club. But the news of Carlos Correa, I mean, you have your starting third baseman. You have a guy who's going to hit in the middle of your lineup.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And because of what they've had to endure this year with injuries around the infield with both Pena and Paredes, and the fact that they've done a makeshift, who's next to fill in at second base, you now have depth in your infield if someone gets hurt too, because Correa is capable of still playing short. Correa can play third. He can move around, but the fact is you've solidified what has been a massive problem, not just because of the batting order at the bottom part of the lineup, but because of the guys you named, and almost any of them that you named, you're like, can he hit? Is he going to hit? Yes, Short has had a couple of timely hits. Hummel's had a couple of timely hits. But overall, we know that the last 3 to 4 spots in this lineup have been grossly disappointing at the plate since Paredes and Pena went down.
Yeah, we're waiting the return.
That's going to be big.
Yeah, I mean, I asked you about the salary there. So what'd you say, like somewhere between 30-50%? Yeah. That would make me happy. That would make me happy too, because like the conversation we were kicking around yesterday was if you just take the entire salary, because what Correa's owed isn't nuts. Like, it's $31 million, $32 million for each of the next 3 years. Then you get into those vesting options. So if Dana Brown got him to eat 50% of it, now you're looking at Carlos Correa at somewhere between $15, $17 million a year, which is tolerable. Now, still into the competitive balance tax, but you're right, it's a steal.
For what he's still capable of doing for you offensively, defensively, and veteran leadership-wise. I know you love that part of it, but overall, like the total package of Carlos Correa back in Houston at that number is easy for anybody, Jim Crane and otherwise, to take on and go, I'm good.
I still value leadership. I just mock
it
the
because mound
people act like it's the most important thing. Like, people are acting like Carlos Correa's leadership was more important than his bad glove and arm. Like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. It's tangible. It matters, but it's not his best attribute. And then the Astros won the World Series the following year, and I felt like it reaffirmed my take there. Now, a lot of the critics here are going to be wondering about the money, how much money Minnesota is retaining. They're going to be worried about the prospect capital, which we haven't seen that. Brian's eagerly working, and if he's not, I just put him to work. And they're also going to look at the Carlos Correa numbers this year and be like, I don't love the offensive production that I'm seeing from Carlos Correa, which traditional stats, 267 average. 267 average is okay. The 319 on-base percentage is fine. That's above big league average, but he's not slugging much. 386 slug, 7 home runs. The OPS is at 705 for Correa, 92+, which we all know is below big league average. Now, some of the peripheral, like analytic stats, like him a little bit more than that. So that's the hope, is that the predictive numbers kind of carry him forward as opposed to what has been the norm this year. And he's also been getting better as of late. Like, if you eliminate the April-March where he hit 215 and had a 579 OPS, it's been way better since then. In May, 313 average, 875 OPS. In June, 269 average, 682 OPS. In July, 300 average and a 759 OPS. So, like, it's been pretty good since the beginning of May.
Let's also factor in with all of the things that you just said in the fact that when has he been biggest for this Astros team? Postseason. You take a guy on a team on a sinking ship, and he knows he was going to be there for the long haul. The team's up for sale. They're leaking oil all over the place. They're now selling off all their pieces. He knew he was in basically, aside from the contract that he wanted, he was in a really tough spot to be in. And now suddenly he's back in his happy place. He's back in the H where he loves the city. He loves some of the players that are still here, but he loves the fact that he is going to be injected right into the middle of a pennant race and playoff baseball where he steps up and does his best work, and he's got to be just completely excited as all get out to get back here and get in the middle of it, and I expect that he's going to play that way.
Brian's showing me a note that he has agreed to move to third base for the Astros, which makes it official. We'd all assumed that that was the case. That does make it official to Correa. Plus, he had a full no-trade clause. Like, if he wasn't going to play third base, then he wasn't going to accept the trade. So, look, left side of the infield, Pena, Correa. There was an article, I think, by Chandler Roma, The Athletic, like a couple of weeks ago, that Pena worked out with Correa for the first time in the offseason. So it looks like they have that friendship. Altuve and Correa have the friendship. Correa is the devil, we know. Who knows, like, again, what Minnesota's retaining. Who knows what the prospect capital is. At the very minimum, the Astros big league roster is better right now than it was 15 minutes ago. And it is a very entertaining time to be a Houston Astro fan, bringing back one of the pillars of the golden era of Houston Astro baseball history.
For all the people that have pulled the plug, crapped out, waved the white flag, and said the season's just basically over, we can't take any more injuries, and it's just, they've treaded water and done everything that they've done, but it isn't realistic to think they can do it the rest of the season. This just gave them everything that they needed to believe, again, that this team is capable of going a long way in the playoffs and maintaining where they are right now. So it's got to be extremely exciting to be an Astros fan, to know that you still have time on the clock.
Bob Nightingale, the Astros didn't eat $50 million of his contract as the Astros desired, but still a significant amount with other major league players involved in the mega deal. Ooh. So they ate a significant amount, but not 50%, and the Astros are also getting a piece back in this trade. Don't know I hope it's Willie Castro.
Oh, the Astros are getting a piece back.
Yeah, I read that right? Astros getting a piece back, Brian?
That's why I read it, yeah.
Yeah, if it's Willie Castro, I'm ecstatic. Now you got a left-handed bat that's versatile, and you get Correa back to fill the voids in the infield, and you've got to be on cloud nine if you're an Astros fan, because there's still time on the clock if you want to go pursue a pitcher. But as you and I talked about, we'll deal with the fact that whether he wants to play second or where they realign the infield next year. This makes you in a wide-open American League. This makes you right there as one of the leaders in the clubhouse to be a team that can take this all the way to another return to the World Series.
Still haven't seen the totality of the trade. Obviously, we'll get to that. We'll get you that as soon as we find out. We'll be all over it. Get your thoughts, too. Major League Baseball trade deadline. Are the Astros done? Do you want them to be done? 713-780-ESPN, the HRMP listener line on YouTube at ESPN Houston, on TikTok at ESPN 975, on Twitter at ESPN 975, Blankers at Pac-Man Joel, Brian at Sack by BMAC. I'm at Jeremy Branham. Major League Baseball trade deadline day. Pencils down at 5. Heidi Watney will join us at 5:15. Do the Astros have something else up their sleeve? Significant trade already for the Stros. Is more to come.